Hello friends, welcome to EPG Pathshala. Today we are going to make a beginning in programming in C++. In the last module, we discussed briefly about what is object orientation, tried to have a brief overview of what we are going to see in C++. But before we move forward to see the other constructs in C++ and learn more about object orientation, let us first try to write a very simple program in C++. Because the best way to learn a programming is to write programs as much as possible. So, today we will try to see that how to write a simple C++ programs, so that you can make a beginning of writing C++ programs, and as we keep learning more and more about C++ and object orientation, you can keep writing more and more as many programs as possible. Before we try to write a simple C++ program, let us quickly recall the various steps which are required for creation and execution of any program. You may recall that whenever we have a problem in hand which needs to be solved, the first thing is that we need to understand that what is the problem or what is expected in the solution of the problem. So, first attempt would be to know what is to be done. Once we have understood what is to be done, the next step is to try and work out that how to do it. And when we try to work out how to do it, we work out with great detail, we work out step by step solution to achieve the solution of the problem in hand. Now, once we have worked out that step by step solution, we want computer to execute those steps and perform the job for us. And for doing so, we need to convey the solution to the computer, and that we do by means of writing a program in any specific programming language. How do we convey that program to computer? The step by step solution that we worked out, we convert into a program, that is, we convert those steps into programming language statements, create a program, and with the help of any editor, that editor may be an independent editor, or if you are using a programming environment or we are using any integrated development environment, the editor provided by them can be used. So, using any editor, we enter the program that we have created, but the program that we enter using editor is written in high level programming language, and we know that the computer understands machine language. So, now we need a translator which would convert that high level language program into machine language program. So, after entering our program using editor, we give the command or we perform the job of compilation. Before the program is compiled, the program is pre-processed by a program called preprocessor. It does some pre-processing, and after doing this pre-processing, it will then compile the program, and compilation means it would translate the high level language program into machine language program. But the output that compiler produces is an object module, and which is not executable. So, to make it executable, we would have to perform another step, that is of linking our program. Once the program is successfully linked, we get an executable program, and that program needs to be loaded in the main memory, and finally, the CPU would execute statements one by one and execute that program. Now, let us understand this process with the help of a diagram. If we look at the diagram, you would see that the first job is that the program that we have created is to be entered using any editor, and that entered program is stored in a file on a disk. Now, the file in which we store the program need to have a specific extension. What extension we need to have would depend on that which programming language we have written the program in. So, we are going to write a program in C++. So, the extension of the file has to be either .cc or .cpp depending on which compiler that we are going to use to compile our program. So, once we enter our program, we would store it in a file with the extension .cpp. After doing so, the C++ program will be pre-processed by the program called preprocessor. Preprocessor would do a job like replacing the symbolic names with the specified constants. As we see the program, we will talk more about the kind of operation that are being performed by the preprocessor, but the output of the preprocessor again will be a C++ program only, and after preprocessing, that program will be subjected to the compiler. Compiler will convert that machine program into equivalent machine instruction, and it will produce an object module, and that would be stored in a file with the extension .obj, that would again get stored onto the disk. But as I said before, that the file or the output that compiler gives is an object module which is not executable. Why it is not executable? Because your program might have used many library functions or other object modules which may not be part of your program. So, when they are not part of your program, the call to those functions will not be executable. So, therefore, these object modules are not executable. So, what we need to do is we need to link our object module with the object modules of the library functions or any other function that we have used in our program. And once this linking is successfully being done, then the linker will produce an executable file. That executable file will again be residing on the disk. If we want to execute this executable file, we need to make use of the program called loader, which would load this executable file from disk to the primary memory. And once it is loaded in the primary memory, CPU will take one instruction at a time and execute that instruction. After execution of all instructions, we should be getting the expected output that we have desired from the program that we have created. So, this was to remind you the steps of creating and executing the program. Now, let us see that how do we create and execute a C++ program. And you know that whenever we try to write the first program or we make a beginning of programming in any programming language, the first program that we write is the famous hello world program, and that is what we are going to do in C++ as well. We would begin our C++ programming by means of writing a simple hello world program. Before we write the hello world program, let us see the structure of a C++ program. Any C++ program will have a documentation section. This documentation section should include comments which talks about the program in general, that what the program does, and probably maybe that who has created the program and when it was created. And this documentation may appear in between the program also to talk about the or to explain the complex code that we have written in our program. After the documentation section, we would have a preprocessor directives. Preprocessor directives can be of two categories. One, that is the link section. This link section will include the header files. If we are using any library function, we would at least be using the library functions for performing input output operations. So, those header files which contain the definition of those classes or the functions which we need to perform operations in our program would be linked here, will be included here. And then if at all, if we have defined some macros or maybe some symbolic constants, that has to be defined here. After having the preprocessor directives, we may declare any variable class in the global declaration section. If we wish to have a variable declaration as a global declaration, or we may want to define a data type, or if we want to define a variable that has to be used as a global, all of those things can be defined in global declaration section. That is being followed by the class declaration or the definition section. With the help of the class, as we discussed in the previous module, we would be defining our own data type. So, if we want to define that, if we are defining our own data type or any class, that should be defined here, and that should follow the main entry point of C++ program, that is a function called main. when we write the hello world program, we will see the prototype of main function. It would be main with or without parameters, and the return type would either be void or the int. And after we have the header of the main function, we would begin the main function with the help of the left bracket, and within that function we may declare the variable which we want to be used locally in the main function, and that declaration section will be followed by set of executable statements, and those executable statements may include invocation of member functions on objects that we have declared in declaration section of this main function. Once we have included all the declarations and executable statements, we would close the main function with the help of the right bracket. Apart from main function, we may also define lot of user defined functions. If we have a complex problem or big problem in hand, we need to modularize the problem. So, we would have more functions in our program. Those functions can be added either before main function or maybe before main function as we desire. Now, let us have a look at a simple program which would simply be declaring to the world that you are beginning your journey of writing C++ program. So, this is our simple hello world program. This is a very simple program, but it does contain few of the basic components of the C++ program. Of course, it does not include all the possible components of the C++ program, but that we are not in a position to include at this point of time, because we need to learn many other things about C++ and object orientation before we are able to include those elements. But yes, this program does include a few basic components. So, that would help us actually at least in beginning our journey of writing C++ programs. So, let us try to see that what are the elements of these programs. If you would recall that we have just discussed that your C program can have a documentation section. So, this is a document section which says that the program that we are writing would be saying hello. Okay. The documentation is being done with the help of the comments. Comments are part of source program which is disregarded by the compiler, which means that the compiler simply ignores those comments. These comments are not meant for the compiler, it is meant for the user only. So, therefore, compiler will ignore it, but it would help us document our own program. So, they actually do nothing. Their purpose is to insert notes to disseminate the information regarding the program, like that what does the program do, who has written the program, maybe you may want to include that when the program was written, and any other information that you would like to include about the program, for that you can use comments. Also, you can use comments for the code which is complex and you believe that people may have difficulty in understanding that code. So, you would like to put some clarification or some explanation about that particular code. So, the one who reads this particular code should be able to understand that program with ease. The comments can be of in C++ line comment or a block comment. A line comment disregards everything from where the pair of these forward slash signs is found up to the end of same line. So, the line comment would be used for writing single line comment, whereas the block comment would be used to write the comment which may run into multiple lines, and this block comment discards everything between forward slash and star characters till the first appearance of star and forward slash character. So, when we have multiple lines to our comments, we would be using a block comment, and when we want to write a single line comment, we would write a single line comment. After this documentation which talks about or which gives the explanation of that particular program, the next thing that we do is the preprocessor directives, and here we are using the preprocessor directive, or we are directing the preprocessor to include this IO stream. Now, what is the purpose of this? Well, whenever we want to use some functions that are not defined in our programs and are defined in either standard library function or any other file, we need to include their declaration, because if we do not have that declaration, when our program is compiled, compiler will not understand that what is that. For example, if you may recall that in C we used to use functions like printf and scanf. Printf and scanf we do not write ourselves, these are pre-written and pre-compiled and it is available with the compiler. What we simply do is that we simply use those functions in a program. So, we simply make a call to those functions. If we do not have even the declaration and definition of the function in the program, neither the declaration is there nor definition is there, then compiler would not know what is printf. So, in that scenario, when we try to compile a program, the compiler would say that it does not know what is printf, it is an undefined identifier. So, we need to include at least the declaration of those functions or the variables that are not being defined in a program, but we are using in a program, so that the compiler knows that this is a variable that is available in other object module that is to be linked to our program at a later stage, or it is a function whose prototype is so and so, and it would be available at the time of linking, and it would allow us to successfully compile. In header files, normally we would find the declaration of functions, macros and the variables which we wish to import or we wish to use into our C++ program. Normally the header files have an extension .h, and the hash sign before this include directive indicates that it is a preprocessor directive and it is not a C++ executable statement. So, this directive is actually meant for preprocessor which would process the header file before the program is subjected to the compiler. Now, what does it do? What is the processing of header file would mean here? The hash include tells the preprocessor to include the contents of header file into the program's text. So, whatever are the contents in the header file, that would be included in our program. And what are the contents of those header files? These are the declarations of the functions which are in standard library or any other object module, but we are using it in our program. The syntax for that is hash include and file. Now, this syntax we would use to include a predefined header file, that is the predefined header file which is available with the compiler, and this we would use to include a user defined header file. For example, I may create number of object modules, or maybe more than one programmers are working on a specific project and everybody is creating their own object modules and everybody is using each other's functions. So, we can create a header file which has a definition of those functions which are not defined in your module, but is defined in some other modules which are to be linked at a later stage. So, if the header file is been created by user, to include that we have to use quotation mark instead of using this syntax. So, here we are including IOStream header file which would have the desired functionalities needed for performing input output operations in C++ program. Then comes the main entry point of the C++ program, that is the main function. Here the return type of the main function is int and it does not take any argument, and return type int would actually return an integer value to indicate the success or the failure of the program. Now, in this program we are doing only one thing, that we want this to be announced to the world, we want this string to be displayed, hello world, I have begun my journey of learning object oriented concepts and programming using C++. To get it displayed we are using something like this. So, let us understand what are those. We are using cout with this. Now, what is cout? Cout is a predefined object of OStream class. It is associated with the standard output device which is usually a display screen, and this would be used to display the output on a console. We would talk about this OStream class and cout object more as we proceed further in the successive modules. So, as we increase our understanding of object orientation and C++, we would keep on understanding more and more about OStream and cout, but as of now what we can understand is that cout is a predefined object which can be used to display the desired output on the console, and it is used with the in conjunction with this insertion operator. For similarly, for if we wish to read something similar to cout, we have another predefined object called cin. It is used with the extraction operator, and it can be used to read any input from the console. So, here we are using this cout to display the hello world message on the console. You would see that before this cout we have something called std and this symbol, which in C++ we call it as scope resolution operator. Now, what is the need of this? Let us try to understand that also. Well, std is a namespace. Now, what is a namespace? Namespace is the name scope. What is the need of name scope? Space? The need of the namespace is that if we are having more than one standard libraries, or if we have more than one standard libraries and the user defined libraries, it might be possible that in different libraries we may have a function of same name. Now, in this case, if we include both the libraries and we make a call to that particular function, it would be confusing for the compiler to know that which particular function we want to use. In that scenario, namespace can be of some help. What we can do is we can define these different libraries into different namespaces, and we can use these namespaces to indicate that function of which namespace we are trying to use at a given point of time. So, std is a namespace where all input output functions, objects and classes are defined. So, when we are saying cout with the scope resolution operator, we are saying that we are trying to use the cout object which is defined in namespace std. Now, we might use cout many times, and we also might use along with cout cin a number of times. Every time we will have to use this, which you may find little cumbersome. So, another option that we have is that instead of using this, we can in the beginning say that we are using namespace std like this, so that after we have made this declaration, the compiler knows that the objects that we are using are the objects that are defined in namespace std. Let us have a look at this also. Now, you would see that here we are using this, but if we want if we do not want every time to be do this to use cout, another option available with us is that we can in the beginning write using namespace std. Now, once we do it in the beginning, now every time I use cout, I do not need to say std scope resolution operator cout, I can simply use it. Why? Because of this declaration, the compiler would know that the cout that I am using is the object which belongs to namespace std. So, that makes the code little less cumbersome. There are many things which we need to understand regarding namespaces, but that we would understand in later module when we discuss the namespace in detail. So, once we have understood this, you would see that here we are using a semicolon, here we are using a semicolon. What is a semicolon? Semicolon is a statement, statement used to terminate the C++ statements. So, semicolon here is the statement separator. So, after every statement we can use it to define that this statement ends here and what follows is the next statement. And because of this statement separator available with us, C++ as C is a free format language, and we can write all the statements in the continuation like this. We do not need to necessarily put the statement single statement in individual lines or statement. For example, here we are having this statement and return 0 is another statement that also we are having on the same line, but that is okay because these statements have been separated by semicolon. So, this is one possibility with us. The another way of writing it is that we write new statement in the new line. The division of code in the different lines is not necessary for the compiler. For compiler, either we write a program like this or we write a program like this, both will be same or both will serve the same purpose, but it is for the benefit of the user or the programmer that we should write program this way, because it makes the program more readable. So, ideally we should write a new statement in the new line to make the program more clear and easily understandable. Understandability and ease of reading the program are two important quality characteristics of any program. So, whenever we write a program, we should try to make the program as simple as possible, and it should be as easy to read as possible. All right. So, this is our first simple hello world program. Now, let us try to see that once we have written this particular program, how to get this program executed. For having our C++ program executed, we need to enter our program using an editor, and then we need to get it compiled using a compiler, and then we need to get it linked and then loaded into the main memory, so that the CPU can execute it. There are many compilers available for C++. Here we would try to explore two compilers for creating and executing C++ program. The first compiler that we would try to explore is JNU compiler. JNU open source compiler collection includes front ends for C, C++, Objective C and many other languages, and it is normally used on Unix or the Linux platform. But if we want to use it on Windows platform, there are number of programs like this available, which can be used to use this compiler on Windows as well. If we so one way is that we use this compiler on Windows using any of such programs. Other ways are that we install Unix or Linux on our computer. If we wish to use Windows and Linux and Unix all of them together, in that case we can have partitions and we can have both the operating system loaded on a computer. You can do as you wish. Now, we will try to see that how to compile a program using JNU compiler. You might remember, if you have used this compiler, GCC compiler, for compiling C program, we used to use a command GCC. But in C++, if we wish to compile the program using GCC compiler, the command that we use is G++. Here we specify our source program file, that is the file containing our program. In our case, the file which is containing a hello world program, its extension has to be CPP, and here we have to specify the name of the file that we want for our output, that is executable file. So, it is possible for you to have a different name for your source file and different name for your executable file. So, if you want to use the same name, you can use the same name. If you want to give different name to the executable file, that name you can specify over here. In some of the installations, you might even find that G++ is installed as C++. Now, let us quickly have a look at how to use the GCC compiler for compiling a C++ program. As I said that we can use it through the window, what we are doing over here is we are using Telnet to connect to the Linux server. Now, here we are using a VI editor to create our C++ program. You may use editor of your choice. Now, here we would be entering our hello world program that we have specified before. In main function, you may have return type as integer or you may have a return type as void, but GCC may not allow you to have the return type as void. Here you will have to have the return type as int. So, we have taken the return type as int void. Here we are specifying our simple instruction of displaying. Now, it might not be visible, but what we are having a string over here is the string that is hello world, I am beginning my journey of creating our C++ program, and finally we are returning. After doing that, we have to use wq command to save our file. Now, on command prompt, we would be using a G++ statement to get our program compiled. Now, this program will directly give you the exe file. If you simply want to compile and get an object module, you can use specific command for doing that as well. Now, finally, what C is, I think on the screen it is not visible, but we can on the screen we will have the statement displayed, that is hello world. We are beginning to do that. Apart from GCC compiler, we can also make use of Microsoft Visual Studio. You can use Microsoft Visual Studio Express Edition, which is a set of integrated development environment, and which is available as freeware, also as the registerware with the limited version of non-free Microsoft Visual Studio. This Express Edition started with Visual Studio 2005. We would try to see that how to create and compile our C++ program using Visual Studio 2008 Express Edition. Let us see that how to do that. Here you can go to all programs, can go to the folder which has the Visual Studio installed, and then you have to do this basic setup that you would need to do only when you initiate this Visual Studio for the very first time, otherwise directly you will reach here. Here we would use the option of create to create Visual C++ empty project. When for creating this empty project, we'll have to give the name of the project. So, we are giving the name to the project as hello. Once the project is being created, we can add an element to our project. In our case, we would be adding a .cpp file in which we wish to write our hello world program. We need to give the name to that element, that is our C++ program. Now, this Visual Studio has its integrated editor. We can use this editor to enter the program. So, here we can as we enter in any editor, we can enter the hello world program using this editor. Once the program is entered, the next step for us would be to compile our program with the necessary build and link options. So, for doing so, in the menu you can see the option called build. So, after completing writing this particular program, we will go to that option. Here you would see the option of compile. You can also use Ctrl F for doing the same. Once your program is successfully compiled, you would be able to run your program using debug option, which says that again here we see the output string displayed onto the string hello world, and once we press it, we come out of it. Using any of the compilers, we can create our program and we can compile it. The best way to learn programming is to write as many programs as possible, and therefore, this early we have tried writing a simple program, so that in the successive modules, as we keep learning about more and more constructs of C++, you can keep on writing programs using them to have a better understanding of the constructs that we have discussed. So, please, as we move forward with the successive modules, every single concept that we learn in those modules, keep writing a program using those concepts and do write as many programs as possible. Programming is fun, so wish you happy programming henceforth. Look forward to meet you in the next module for discussing basics of the C++, and then we would move on to learn object oriented support of C++, and we will try to see how we can write effective object oriented programs using C++. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.